It was magic. Go on. Show me how you done it. Quarter-final. Schools championship. Captain Courageous steps up. Stares the keeper in the eye. Marks his spot.
There's going to be like a big TV, heaps of food.
Brad, maybe you shouldn't drive, huh?
Well, driver, let's get moving. What? Don't tell me you don't have a licence.
Of course I have.
Let's get going. Come on, we're getting old back here.
Well, I never.
My roses. My fence.
Oh, what idiot puts a rose garden in the middle of the road?
Harold, call the police. And an ambulance.
The law can often seem pretty intimidating, and most of what we know about it is picked up from television sound bites and newspaper headlines. It can be confusing and misleading. And for Joel, the law is about to get a lot more up close and personal. Most laws come from legislation passed by federal and state parliaments. There's also the common law, a collection of legal rules and principles courts have developed over hundreds of years. While the federal parliament passes laws on matters like defence, immigration and taxation, our focus will be on the Queensland legal system. In our system of government, known as the Westminster system, it's Parliament's role to make laws, and the job of the government, that is, the executive, made up of elected politicians who are appointed ministers of the Crown, to make the policies that shape those laws. It's also the government's job to administer those laws through its network of government departments. And as we'll soon see in more detail, the courts play a critical role as the so-called third arm of government, impartially upholding the laws by resolving disputes and punishing those who won't obey our laws. We have laws dealing with everything from dogs to dangerous driving. Parliament passes dozens of new laws every year and makes changes to dozens more. Most of our laws fall into two major categories: criminal and civil. Criminal laws set out rules of conduct which, if we break them, can result in us being charged and, if found guilty, punished. For example, laws that say you can't assault people or steal their property. Civil laws set out rights and obligations which are enforceable if there's a dispute between ordinary people like you and me, as well as companies and the government. Common examples are contractual disputes and negligence actions.
Well, we gave him the choice for his 18th birthday a few months back. We'd either pay for his driving lessons or get him a nice new watch.
So the watch it was?
2 for the price of 1.
It's your fault. If you were any sort of father, you would have taught him to drive long ago.
Your parents are here, I'll bring them through.
Courts set up by the federal parliament include the High Court and the Federal and Family Courts. The major state courts in Queensland are the Supreme, District and Magistrates Courts, but there are also specialist courts like the Children's Court and the Planning and Environment Court. The Supreme, District and Magistrates Courts each has a separate criminal and civil jurisdiction. On the criminal side, any adult charged with a criminal offence initially appears before the Magistrates Court, where less serious charges are heard and decided. The magistrate finding a defendant guilty or not guilty and handing down sentence. But for more serious crimes, an accused may face a committal hearing before the Magistrates Court and may then be committed to stand trial before the Supreme or District Court, depending on the seriousness of the alleged offence. But only the most serious criminal offences, like murder, are heard by the Supreme Court. Each court also has a civil jurisdiction, with the amount in dispute determining which court hears any particular matter. Queensland also has specialist courts and tribunals, dealing with important issues like guardianship, industrial disputes and suspicious deaths.
The courts play a vital role in our society. It's vital because the courts stand between citizen and government, the guardians of individual rights. The most important of those rights is the right to be judged according to law. And so courts act independently, not at the behest of any external influence. It's that independence which encourages the confidence of the people. The authority of our judgments ultimately depends on that confidence. Our acting independently ensures it's there.
Joel has been charged with dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm and will soon face a committal hearing in the Magistrates' Court.
The committal hearing will look at the evidence to see if you have a case to answer on the dangerous driving charge. If the magistrate finds you have, you'll be committed to stand trial before a district court judge and jury.
Right.
The trouble is, this grievous bodily harm, your passenger, Brett Marsden, he has sustained a serious back injury.
The legal profession in Queensland is divided into solicitors and barristers. Both are admitted as officers of the court and have a primary duty of honesty to the courts of Queensland. In other words, they must uphold our system of law as well as serve their clients. Solicitors are the primary providers of legal services to the public, businesses and government. For you and me, it might be drawing up a contract to buy or sell a unit, preparing a will, or giving advice if you feel you've been unfairly treated by your boss.
What if he finds me guilty?
We've already been through all this. He can't. It's a committal hearing.
Yeah, okay.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions plays a key role in our criminal justice system by conducting prosecutions on behalf of the state. Think of it as the state's solicitor and barrister in serious criminal matters, providing legal advice and advocacy skills so prosecutions are properly carried out. Even so, police prosecutors often appear for the Crown in the Magistrates' Court, although with the most serious criminal offences, such as murder, the office usually appoints its own prosecutor. Joel's parents have retained a private solicitor for their son, but people appearing before the courts may be entitled to assistance from legal aid. The Queensland Legal Aid Office provides services like legal advice and a free duty lawyer scheme in the magistrates and children's courts, along with court representation on a means-tested basis for more serious criminal matters. For less serious criminal charges, legal aid may still provide court representation, but as well as a means test, it will also consider the legal and factual merits of the case. In a committal hearing, the magistrate decides whether there's enough evidence for an accused to stand trial before a judge and jury in either the Supreme or District Courts. Unfortunately for Joel, he's been committed to stand trial before the District Court for dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm. And while a solicitor is entitled to appear before the Supreme and District Courts, it's more common to enlist the services of a court specialist, a barrister, for this type of work. Barristers, like solicitors, complete years of formal training, but while their background and training is similar to a solicitor, barristers don't do the same sort of shopfront legal work. Instead, they specialise in court work, such as arguing a case or preparing written submissions. Barristers are often referred to as advocates because in court they advocate or argue their client's case. It requires a detailed understanding of the rules of evidence and court procedure and an ability, quite literally, to think on their feet.
Hi, Bob. Yes, I was just looking at the papers you sent me on the dangerous driving matter. Michael Schumacher. Without the skills.
In Joel's upcoming trial, his barrister will represent him in court, instructed, that is, advised and assisted by Joel's solicitor. Unfortunately, Joel's problems extend beyond his impending criminal trial. As an unlicensed driver with no insurance to fall back onto, he's also likely to face civil liability for the damage caused by his negligence. Nearly everything we do in day-to-day life creates rights and responsibilities. It might be the contractual obligation we have to pay a credit card bill, or an employer's responsibility to provide a safe work environment. Fortunately, when disputes do arise, most are resolved between the parties without going to court. And even when a civil action is brought, the courts have put in place alternative dispute resolution methods to try to get the parties to resolve the matter before it gets to trial. The day set down for Joel's trial before a district court judge and jury has arrived, and Joel's barrister and solicitor are running through a couple of last-minute matters.